And hey, folks, and welcome to Championship Sunday here out in Clearwater, Minnesota for the Preserve Championship out powered by Prodigy Disc. We are at Tournament Central for our pre-show to talk to you about FPO as well as what else to expect throughout the course of today and what's also taking place across the pond. I am Dustin Murray, your host, and joining me is going to be Brian Earhart once again. Happy to have you back this morning. First off, before we start talking about the action, I do want to ask a little bit about the weather conditions because I know day one was rather calm, very scoreable. It kind of picked it up a notch yesterday at times. So what are we looking at so far today?
Yeah, well, yesterday Katrina Allen had mentioned that the wind had picked up significantly and at least affected shots more significantly than in round one. Today, it feels dead calm. It's a lot hotter than it was in the previous 2 days. This afternoon is going to be scorching, very sticky out here in Minnesota. So players are going to have to keep cool. They're going to have to keep hydrated. They're going to have to really work on their grip and pay attention to that very closely. But yeah, yet another beautiful day out here at the Preserve.
Yeah, don't tell me about sticky. I live in the Gulf Coast where it's 100% humidity, so you will get no sympathy from me out there in the Midwest. As let's pivot our focus now over to Katrina Allen, who, of course, set the course record day one at 10 under par. Now, on day two, she had a bit of a slow start, but she finished strong, hitting a turkey in the middle of the course and went 3 down through the final 6 holes to shoot 6 under and take a 3-stroke lead heading into the final round. She is leading our field in Preserve in birdie percentage and par percentage, and she's top 3 for both C1X putting and Circle 2 putting, so she's getting it done everywhere, and we got to hear from her after a round yesterday.
I felt like not the most comfortable to start the round. I felt a little nervy. I felt a little just like it took me till I would say about hole 6 to get in the mindset I was in all day yesterday. So I was just trying to be patient and just accept how the day was going and just kept telling myself there's so much golf, it's kind of silly. And I feel like the beginning of the season, my mental game and my patience haven't been the greatest, and I know that's what is kind of holding me back, so I really wanted to be conscious of that today.
Let's jump ahead to 14.
Okay.
Can you walk us through just the hole in general?
I felt like I laced my tee shot, and then I was really confident with what I was seeing from the approach shots that if I threw my hyzer flip shot I like to throw with my straighter pipeline, which is pretty understable, and I felt like I hit it great, and I just never got the flip up that I needed, and I just didn't think I deserved a bogey is what I was telling myself. Like there's, Cole and I were talking, he's like, you gonna lay it up, go for it? I'm like, I'm going for it, I feel it, and he's like, just commit. And when I made it, I was like, yes, I just didn't want that bogey.
Now, Allen is leading between rounds for the first time on tour since her first elite win of the year at the Las Vegas Challenge, where she took down her only win so far of the season. Of course, she took a bit of a break at the Des Moines Challenge, but she finished in the top 10 in her last 3 tournaments leading up to the Preserve, and she also has a couple of podium finishes earlier this year at Austin and Champions Cup. Currently ranked 7th in the world and 4th in the DGPT standings, Brian, and she is playing some excellent golf today. What's it been like out there watching her play these last couple of days? What have been some of the highlights that you've picked out?
Well, when Katrina is playing well and she's playing confident and she's trusting that backhand form, she plays some of the most technical golf that I've seen in this division. I mean, her hyzer flip lines are so masterful. She plays those really cool, you call them the Ken Climo lines sometimes, that hyzer flip up to flat, little bit of drift, and then back to hyzer at the end. She can just control that line so well. It's so touchy, but that sometimes becomes a stock shot for her when she's lining up certain shots. So it's just really awesome to watch her play with confidence, because when she's on fire, the shot selection is just almost just showing the rest of the field, I've been here a long time and I know what I'm doing. And now this week the putter's just been so hot, and she's been putting pretty well all season, but now she gets to put that on display in front of the cameras.
Yeah, she has been really on point basically in all elements of the game so far this week, as she has a 3-stroke lead, but that 3-stroke lead is kind of over what I deem the final boss, it feels like, of FPO, and that is Kristin Tattar, someone to always fear out on the course. Of course, Kristin Tattar entered this event fresh off of a dominant victory at Des Moines, winning that event by 6 strokes. She opened this tournament with a 6 under par, placing her 4 strokes behind Katrina Allen. On day 2, Tattar came flying out of the gate. She went 3 down through the first 4 holes and had 5 more birdies across the middle stretch of the course. It seemed as though she was going to tie Allen up and maybe even surpass her, but a par on hole 16 and a bogey on 17 slowed her down just a smidge, but at the end of the day, she still shot a 7 under par, and she still did shrink the lead down to 3 strokes as we head into our final round. She is currently leading the field in fairway hits as well as finding the circle 2 in regulation and in circle 2 putting, but she is a little bit behind on finding circle 1 in regulation as well as C1X putting. What have you seen from Tatar throughout the tournament thus far? What do you think she can adjust to try to make up that ground as 3 strokes?
Well, I don't think any of us know what it's truly like to have a target on your back like Kristen Tatar has right now. I mean, she's won so many events this season. This is such a historic year for FPO disc golf for many reasons, but the season that Kristen Tatar is having is just unbelievable at times. But now, instead of having the target on her back and feeling like she's having to defend constantly, she gets to chase this round. And I know Paul McBeth, back when he was winning all the time as well, winning his world championships, he kind of liked chasing at the end of tournaments. He liked being a couple strokes behind because then he can throw caution to the wind, play as aggressive as he wants, and try to just take first place. And I think Kristen might come into today with the same mindset and maybe a little excited to not have to defend something.
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't find Tatar playing from behind very often. Of course, she already has 5 wins this season at elite or higher events. She also has 2 silver wins, giving her a total of 7 victories on tour this season. She's also had some additional top 5 finishes at Austin and at Texas State. In fact, her worst placing this year is 6th place, and she has yet to finish outside of the top 6 on the Disc Golf Pro Tour since 2019. Of course, never finishing off the podium last year across 15 events where she won 5 of those. So she has just been a phenomenal player, and she is certainly one to keep an eye out for as she tries to hunt down Katrina Allen today. Now, with that said, there are a couple of more players sitting on the lead card that have their chance as well. Of course, that'll be Kat Mertsch and Ella Hansen, who both find themselves in a tie for 3rd place just behind our leaders. We'll talk more about them after the break.
Introducing the F9, Prodigy's most understable fairway driver. The F9 is designed for beginners and lower arm speeds to get maximum distance, full flex flights, and effortless hyzer flips. A narrow rim makes it easy to grip for smaller hands. The F9, coming soon to ProdigyDisc.com.
You want to play through?
It's parked.
Sometimes I get a little fixated on the scores. I've had to leave my phone behind and whatnot because I can't help myself, and then it just snowballs effects. So, yeah, I've been working on trying to just focus on the flow and, like, the game and in the moment because I benefit better that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just really need to come in with the confidence with my putt. Like I said, I think I was giving myself a lot of really good opportunities throwing the disc pretty well. So if I can just make, all my putts tomorrow, or most of my putts tomorrow even, I feel like I can give myself a really good chance to shoot something good.
Indeed, that was some words from our other lead card members, Kat Mertsch and Ella Hansen. We'll start off with Kat Mertsch here, Brian. She certainly had the roller coaster ride of a first round, and she was 2 over par after a double bogey on hole 8, but then she would hit an incredible ace on hole 9 that seemed to kind of create some sparks, and she'd fan those flames in the 4 birdies in a row to end the day 4 under par and on the chase card. Then yesterday, she went on to shoot a 6 under par, despite starting off 2 over through the first 6 holes. This leaves her at 9 under par overall in the tie for 3rd place. She is actually leading the field in C1X putting at 94% and is 2nd in birdie percentage. What is it like with Merch out there on the course? I feel like she's such a character and someone you always have to account for.
Well, what I love about disc golf is how individuality can really come out when you allow it to. And I think for her, she's realizing if I just forget about the score, forget about what I have to do to beat whoever's in the lead, and just play the game that I want to play, the way that I want to play the game, it's really entertaining. The decisions that she makes on the course, whether it's running the basket from a very risky position or just throwing really beautiful long hyzer flip drives. Kat Mertsch has just her own style that she's growing into, and I love that she's kind of leaning into this confidence in that style and in her own true sense of self as an athlete. So I think the one thing that I'm noticing is, the putting is looking great. The putting stroke in general is coming out with more pop. It's coming out with more confidence. And that right there is going to push her to these consistently high placements because of the fact that she's always been a great thrower, forehand and backhand. The confidence is there with that. And now that the putter's starting to pop out of the hand, she's going to be a threat at every tournament this year.
Yeah, she already has been. I mean, she has 2 wins this season at Jonesboro and at the Cascade Challenge. She's found the podium at our first major of the year at Champions Cup and has really been kind of consistently placing within the top 10 all season long. She's currently 6th in our point standings, and we certainly expect some great things from her out on the course today in Championship Sunday. Now, we also need to talk Ella Hansen, who sits right next to her in 3rd position. She opened her tournament with a 5 under par, mainly due to some struggles in Circle 1, but went 3 for 5 from Circle 2 to help her stay in the mix. During the 2nd round, Hansen started slow, if we're being honest. Even par through the first 6 holes, again looking a little bit timid on the putting green, I think was the biggest thing. She was kind of often missing low left, but she really got it together, hitting 4 birdies in the middle of the course, and while she would stumble a little bit afterwards, she finished very strong with those 3 birdies in a row at the end of the day to put her 3rd on the leaderboard. Brian, she is top 3 in the field right now at finding both circles in regulation. She's also actually 2nd in Circle 2 putting at 40%, but Circle 1 has really been a struggle for her. She's only at 58%. That's 32nd in the field, Brian.
Yeah, well, the thing that I notice about her Circle 2 putt is it's pretty much the same stroke as her Circle 1 putt. She just has this really smooth continuation of weight. She anchors that lead foot behind the mini, not necessarily running at the basket, but just following through with her normal spin putt, letting that back leg come through. And I think if she can kind of continue that weight shift into Circle 1 and just not let that back leg pass the mini, I think she's going to be drilling Circle 1 putts. Obviously in Circle 2 she's online, and the only difference is she's letting that weight carry forward. So if she can find that in Circle 1, it's going to be no problem. I think the putting stroke is fantastic, and I think anyone looking to study a step putt should look at Ella Hansen's because it is textbook, at least from what I'm seeing.
Which is awesome considering how young she is in her career to have already developed a skill like that. I mean, she's been in the contention for the win several times this year. Podium finishes at Waco and DDO, top 5 at, the Las Vegas Challenge and OTB Open. In fact, she has never placed outside the top 15 this year, Brian. She has been incredibly consistent and, has a chance today to maybe make a run, though it's going to be a long one as Katrina Allen has quite the lead. But with that said, we do need to talk a little bit of MPO, as, of course, Ricky WYsocki is leading the field after 2 days of phenomenal play. We'll talk a little bit about that after the break.
What's up, everybody? My name's Kevin Jones, and the brand new disc to my lineup is the Feedback. The Feedback is a stable fairway driver, so it's going to be pretty straight out of your hand and then has a nice dependent finish to the left at the end. One of the great things about the feedback is that it's for all skill levels. I'm really excited about this new disc in my lineup. Go check it out at prodigydisc.com.
What makes the Halal Guys so deliciously different? You might have heard of our famously long cart lines that NYC fans happily stand in. Today, with over 100 plus restaurants across the globe, we are your place to experience authentic American halal. Enjoy our delicious falafel, Euro sandwich, platters, and sides topped with our famously flavorful white and hot sauces. Order online today and taste how we make different so delicious. The Halal Guys, bringing something deliciously different to the table.
Before getting into MPO for the Preserve, we got to talk about what's going on at the Swedish Open as they have crowned a winner in the FPO division as Silva Saarinen went +3 on the day, but that was good enough to hang on to a huge lead as she went 8 down over 3 days. Familiar face Lucky Lorentzen went 1 down on the day for the hot round, giving her a podium finish as she tied for second place. Of course, here's Silva on 18 to close it out. It was total domination from start to finish for the Finn. And we currently have MPO action underway right now on the Disc Golf Network. And it is exciting already because Paul Macbeth entered into today 3 strokes behind Niklas Antala, but he is now 5 down through 5 and has a 1-stroke lead. So things are really heating up in that battle over in Sweden in MPO. So definitely go check that out. But not yet. Don't leave us. Brian still has plenty of great insights to share while I say random things in between. And, of course, we got to talk about Ricky WYsocki, who is on a heater right now, as we'll actually get to hear from all of our lead card competitors all the same.
I don't think I'm going to modify my game plan or anything. I'm pretty much playing as aggressive as I can out here. There might be like 2 holes where a couple guys might be able to push for that eagle, hole 8 and 10, but I don't really think those are quite in my wheelhouse. So just try to get the birdies there, try to pretty much get the birdie on every hole if I can. Might take it if he shoots another dang 13 or so.
From what it looks like, it's going to have to be pedal to the metal. I'm going to have to do something pretty crazy in order to give myself a chance to win. So, yeah, it's just try to birdie everything.
I mean, I've been playing disc golf for a long time. Over probably 15 years as a PDGA member now, and now I'm finally trying to compete on this level, and it's an honor to be here.
Is 12 under par going to be enough?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I shoot 11, 12 under, obviously if I have the chance to shoot better, I'm going to, take advantage of it. But if I shoot that number again tomorrow, I like my chances a lot.
I bet he does like his chances, Brian. So you shot a scorcher on round 1 with a parless 15 under par. Normally, if I told you someone shot a parless round, you'd probably think, oh, man, they shoot a perfect round. Or, oh, man, they must have really had a rough one. But not him, 15 under par. He'd follow up wonderfully yesterday, Brian, with a 12 under par, which was a clean card full of magical moments. I think the throw-in on hole 11 particularly comes to mind. He's currently leading the field at 75% birdie rate, and he is still perfect in C1X across both rounds. And as you saw right there, we've seen plenty of clutch moments from Circle 2 and really beyond. That was probably over 100 feet right there on your screen. Man, what's it been like following WYsocki throughout this weekend, Brian?
It feels like Ricky WYsocki of old. I mean, it feels like no matter what's going on in his personal life, whether it's physically, mentally, it feels like he's kind of dissociated from that pain, and he's just pushing, and he's just willing his way to victory. Him and his caddy are just really flowing together. His caddy is just hyping him up around every corner. It seems like they treated every shot yesterday like it was the final round of the tournament. And if Ricky can do that again today, not only is that an incredible feat of mental stamina, it's easily going to take him to victory, because right now the putter is popping out of his hand. His distance is enormous. He is throwing some of the longest slow flipping hyzer lines that I have seen in a long time out here. And really, I mean, yeah, they said his wrist is not doing well, but they're doing everything they possibly can to get the inflammation down, and they're taking this very seriously. I think if Ricky takes this down, it's going to be a very big win for him.
I mean, Ricky's been performing in basically every metric so far this tournament. I mean, we talked about how he's perfect from C1X, and he's leading the field in birdie percentage. He's also top 3 in the field for finding both circles in regulation. And as you said, his drives have looked phenomenal, not only in accuracy, but, I mean, he's eagled 18 both days, and I think his drive on day 1 on 18 was probably one of the furthest we've ever seen on that hole. So he is, really doing well despite the health complications. He had 3 top 10 finishes on his return from injury, as well as a top 20 at Des Moines. But it's looking like he's going to be doing a heck of a lot better than that, as he currently sits ahead by 4 strokes. I mean, really, I assume you're probably just going to say, keep at it as normal. But is there anything in particular maybe WYsocki needs to be focused on today to kind of maintain the course?
Well, I think at this point in his career, with the Lyme disease doing what it's doing and popping up and flaring up at random, he just needs to be very in tune with his body, and then also he needs to trust his experience. If something needs to happen in regards to a game plan change or shot selection change to accommodate for maybe a sore wrist, he can do it. I remember playing with him when Lyme disease was first flaring up at the Memorial a few years back, and on every tee pad he had an athletic trainer massaging his hip, and then he'd step up and he'd throw just a really slow flex line with an overstable driver and get the same amount of distance. I think he has the experience to change his angles and change his equipment in his hand to accommodate and still play at a high level. It's just one of those little things that I think a lot of players give him respect for because of how resilient he's been for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only concern I had was after he had that big throw-in on hole 11, it seemed like some of his backhand drives afterwards were a little, more left than what he wanted. I don't know if that was, an early release issue or if it's the inflammation in the wrist or whatever, but it seemed like there were a couple of moments there where it got a bit shaky, but he still finished strong at the Eagle on 18 and still has a 4-stroke lead, so what do I know? I think he's totally fine, of course, as we'll talk more about MPO later on today, but first we have to make a pivot back to the FPO division that's about to tee off here very soon, and we want to talk you through our chase card as we'll dive into that after the break.
Join the Paul Macbeth Foundation's Builders Club to help bring sustainable disc golf experiences to people and communities around the world. For a small monthly donation, you can help us make a real impact. Your donation will go directly to making a difference. By becoming a monthly subscriber, you'll also receive exclusive updates on our work, special offers, and discounts. So join us today and make a difference with the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Together we can make a big impact, one small donation at a time.
Haley, you just came off the course for round 2. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling a little bit better than yesterday, but still feeling pretty slow on the disc golf course.
A little slow. I mean, this is a sprinter's course, as some people have been calling it. Is there anything that you're going to try to change for tomorrow's round?
I just got to throw better shots. I don't know, it's that easy.
Yeah, as we got to hear from Haley King there, as we kind of start talking about our chase card, is going to be teeing off in a few moments. We'll start with Haley King. She's currently 7 under par overall for the event and a tie for 5th place. And honestly, Brian, she has played really well, but hole 18 has been a problem. It's been her kryptonite. She has carded double bogeys on that hole both rounds, going OB twice actually on the opening round and once yesterday. She sits number 2 in our world ranking. She has a win at DDO already, some podium finishes at Jonesboro and Champions Cup, so we know that she's very capable of finishing strong. What do you think needs to adjust for King today to make a run? Is it simply cleaning up hole 18, or do you think there's anything else that King might need to focus on?
Oh, no. I mean, she's correct. I mean, even if you take a birdie on hole 18, that's only, I believe, a 6 under par for her, which is still not enough to move up the leaderboard and catch Kristen or Kat. But really, like I said yesterday, she's a wild card this season. I mean, this is one of the most physically talented players in the division. But at the end of the day, you still have to golf and you still have to score consistently. And that means coming into the course with a consistent mindset, a consistent goal, some focus. And it seems to wane for her this year. When she wants to win and when she feels like she's going to be the champion, it feels like she makes a run every single time. But that's the difficult part about the Disc Golf Pro Tour. There's so much talent out here, and it sometimes feels like you get swallowed up by the competition, the weekend to week out grind. I know she's mentioned that publicly in the past has been a problem for her, having to play so many tournaments. So just this week, it just so happens to be one of those things where she's not executing the way she wants to. And yeah, I mean, again, today anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely a phenomenal athlete. I couldn't agree with you more, and already has built quite the resume this season. Another player who's really been, leaping out to our attention is going to be Holland Handley, who too sits in the top 5. I think similarly to Ella Hansen, Holland has been in contention for the win multiple times. She has found 4 podium finishes this season and has 4 additional top 5s to go along with it. Kind of, walk me through your thoughts about Holland Handley and what you've seen from her thus far this season.
Well, this whole season in general, she reminds me a lot of Ella Hansen. I mean, they have figured out the distance side of the game, and now they just have to compress that into consistency and accuracy and using that biomechanical power to their advantage. So for her, it's just executing the little shots well. I mean, we saw her throw a 410-foot low-ceiling control driver on hole 18 at the DDO few weeks ago. She has every bit of power to score well out here, but again, it's just focusing, making the right decisions, right disc selections, and just taking it one shot at a time.
Yeah, I just think some of the C1X putting has also kind of caught her a little bit this week, same with Ella. As, of course, we need to focus some attention on a veteran and a 5-time world champion in Juliana Korver. She currently sits in 7th position at 5 under par. We have seen Korver really come alive at multiple tour stops this year. She came 3rd at the Portland Open, 9th at Zootown, and she had some top 20 finishes at the Beaver State Fling and in Des Moines. So despite, taking a long break from the tour for many years, she has come back with a vengeance, actually, this season, Brian. I mean, talk to me about how amazing it is to see someone like Juliana Korver come out and perform like this.
I mean, I've said it all season long. I think she can do whatever she wants this season. I mean, she's mentioned that this is potentially her victory lap before she does start leaning into more age-protected divisions, commentary, media, things like that, and just continuing her push as an incredible representative of our sport. So I think she approaches these tournaments with just a ton of gratitude. I don't think she has a lot of expectations for herself. And for her especially, when expectations go away, when concerns of score go away, she plays brilliant disc golf that gives us a taste of what it used to look like back when she was dominating in the early 2000s. So that style has not gone away. She's still in phenomenal shape for being in her 50s. It's awesome to see her still out here, and it's always a joy to watch her because you can tell how happy she is to still be out here.
Yeah, absolutely. She is definitely fun to watch. And, of course, the last player that's going to be on our chase cards will be Missy Gannon, who is tied for 8th place with Paige Pierce at 4 under par. She actually really had a chance to put on a spectacular performance yesterday. She was 8 under through the first 13 holes. However, Gannon would go bogey, double with some putting woes in circle 1, which is a rarity for her as she often leads the field in C1X. So we hope that she can clean that up as she has been a solid contender all year, finding the podium multiple times, and has finished in the top 10 or better in 11 of the 13 events that she's attended this year, and she looks like she's going to do it again. But that is going to do it for us here at Tournament Central. We're going to bid you adieu, Brian Earhart, but of course we'll hear from you out on the course throughout the broadcast. And folks, definitely stay tuned because after the break, FPO action will kick off for Championship Sunday for the Preserve Championship.
Prodigy has finally launched the Team Prodigy Player Store.
It's got hand-picked discs.
You're also going to find some sweet apparel.
All the discs I've chosen are my favorite discs.
Be sure to go check it out and keeps us on the road.
There's something about sand that reminds us of ourselves. What were once great stones have been ground down over years and years into something so small. But sand also shows us that everything we do matters, and that together, even our smallest actions can create great dunes. Because little by little, a little becomes a lot.